In this video, I'm going to walk through how to create a pivot table in Excel. I'm using Office 365 Excel on a computer running Windows. The process is the same on a Mac. In this data set, we have sales data from 2 retail chains. We would like to analyze the data further with a pivot table. A pivot table helps to summarize the data. To create a pivot table, click anywhere in your data set. Click on Insert in the ribbon and then click on Pivot Table. A dialog box will appear. Click on OK to accept the defaults for the pivot table. The arrow is pointing to the empty pivot table we have created. The Pivot Table Fields panel is circled on the right. That Pivot Table Fields panel is where we tell Excel what to put into the pivot table. Now we are going to populate the pivot table. Say we want to know how much in sales came from the Bellings retail chain and how much of the sales were from the ReadyWare retail chain. We drag the chain field down to the rows box in the Pivot Table Fields panel, and we drag sale price down to values. The pivot table is now populated. We see that Bellings has $4,579 in sales, while ReadyWare has $2,328 in sales for total sales of $6,907. Here we see the Pivot Table Fields panel on the right. If the Pivot Table Fields panel ever disappears, simply click anywhere in the pivot table to have it reappear. Now let's look at the sales data in further detail. Now say we want to know how much in sales there was in each category within each retail chain. To get the category information, drag the category field down to below the chain field in the rows box. You can see that we now have the category totals within each retail chain. There are 2 years of sales data in the data set. Say we want to know how much in sales there was in each year within each chain and category. Drag date down to the columns box. Now we see the sales data split into 2 years in the pivot table. We could look at sales by years or quarter. If you don't see the date field split into year and quarter, update Office 365 Excel. The date splitting feature is relatively new to Excel, so you have to have the latest version of Excel. That's it. We are done. This video was created and narrated by Dr. Wendy Tietz and is part of the Excel Skill Builder video series. See accountingisanalytics.com for additional faculty and student resources.